it is time to rank another soundtrack, and this time I'm going to be doing Contra on the NES. Like always, I'm just doing the stage themes. There are 8 stages in the game, but 2 levels have repeating songs, so there are 6 songs total to rank. I'll preface this like I always do by reiterating that this list is strictly my opinion, isn't meant to be greater or less than yours or anybody else's. Feel free to leave your comments, criticisms, concerns in the comments. I encourage discussion and debate. So, without any further ado, let's get on with the list. Number 6, Snowfield. This is the one and only song in the soundtrack that I don't really care for. The intro takes way too long to build up, and it's the same riff over and over again with some key changes. Even if it were a really good riff, eventually it would get tiring, but this is nothing really all that special that repeats, so it gets old fast. It doesn't help that the song is so up-tempo, because a faster song will get repetitive quicker than a slower song will. The second half of the loop is definitely an improvement, and it saves the song, but it's not anything amazing, so it was pretty easy to put this one at the bottom. Number 5, Energy Zone. Since the song is called Energy Zone, of course you're going to get a lot of energy, and the drum roll right at the beginning lets you know that straight away. It's probably the most conventional and simple structure of any song on the soundtrack, and the loop ends pretty quickly. You've got the main verse that goes through a 4-measure sequence twice, followed up by a bridge that builds up to an insane solo that sounds like it's gonna segue into a refrain or something with a hook of some kind. But after a brief moment of the solo's existence, it goes right back to the main verse. I like all the sections, especially that solo. It's badass and has a really nice tone, but I feel like it's a little disjointed. It could have used another section, or at least some other way to connect the sections a little better. Number 4, Bass. It's got a cool main riff that repeats a few times, and then has a key change to break up the repetition. Then there's a breakdown which flows back into the main verse, which makes you think upon first listen that this is the full loop of the song. But then the second time around, where the breakdown is expected to come in, instead you get this bridge section that builds up and then carries back over into the main verse. I like when songs do shit like that. Even when you know your way around the song, sometimes you can't tell which section is coming up if you zone out for a minute. Number 3, Alien's Lair. The intro makes it sound like this is gonna be the one dark, slow song on the soundtrack, and while it does maintain a dark tone, it's not a dirge either. When the beat drops, it's here to stay. Each section offers something different while still seamlessly flowing into each other. Not to mention that the lead and bass instruments really play well off of each other here. The way they sound on top of each other just makes these really cool sounds. It's very sonically satisfying. What else is satisfying is the solo at the end that brings us back to the main riff that you hear in the intro, but it's a whole different experience now with all this other accompaniment with it. The song is the perfect example of making a track stand out as being unique to the rest of the album, or soundtrack in this case, while at the same time being a perfect fit with the rest of it as well. Balancing that fine line between not offering up too much of the same shit while also keeping everything cohesive and tight. Number 2, Jungle. This song fucking rocks, and the rhythm section is the driving force behind the intensity level. If the drums were a basic rock pattern, and if the bass wasn't so chaotic and busy, then the main riff and the verse would probably be pretty cheesy. It wouldn't sound cheesy the rest of the way though, because the leads that come in are slick as hell, and the breakdowns that pop in there between each of the sections are the perfect glue. The riffs are straightforward, but melodic, and there's a good variety of sections, including some nice solos, and this one particular part in the refrain is probably my favorite sequence of the soundtrack. just love that choppy pattern along with the catchiness of the riff. It's cool as hell. And number 1, Waterfall. Holy shit, this song just shreds from beginning to end. It almost seems like the whole song is a glorified solo with a couple of signature licks in the main verse, but it's really quite melodic. It's just that the riffs are quite busy, and the rest of the instrumentation has a lot going on too. Even in the breakdown, which seems like on the surface is a break to calm everything down, it really is still full of energy, even if it is effective in its change of pace. Similar to Alien's Lair, I just love the way the bass and lead instruments play to each other, but here it fills in all the gaps. All the instruments are contributing greatly to this. There's no room to breathe at any point, at least until you get to the breakdown. Intense as all hell. So that's it for this list. Let's do a quick recap. Number 6, Snowfield. Number 5, Energy Zone. Number 4, Bass. Number 3, Alien's Lair. Number 2, Jungle. And number 1, Waterfall. So what did you think of the list? What do you agree with, disagree with? How would you rank this soundtrack yourself? Feel free to leave all of this in the comments. So that'll be it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.